Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Elite Insight, your AEW pay per view post show here at BC WrestlePod. My name is Mikey, and joining me, as always, is my good friendo and partner in crime from this past weekend. Benny is in the house. Happy to have you here, friend. Lots to talk about, really good stuff to talk about for sure.
Oh, 100%. This was easily one of the uh, top five AEW pay per views. It was a fun watch along, even though it was infuriating for on my end. But let's rock and roll.
Yeah, it was a blast this Sunday. Benny and I did a live watch along for Double or Nothing, and we have a lot to talk about. So before we get into all of that, though, really quickly, we go live a lot of the time during the week. We have social medias at BC WrestlePod. We have merch at our shop, BC WrestlePod shop.fourthwall.com. And last but certainly not least, we have a coffee. It's going to help us pay for pay-per-views, especially going into the summer season, y'all. It's about to get crazy, but I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. Um, but yeah, so without further ado, let's just jump into it. So AEW Double or Nothing took place Sunday, May 24th in Queens at the Louis Armstrong Stadium, which is a tennis stadium, which is really cool. And I thought they used the venue really interesting ways, especially during Stadium Stampede, which we gonna talk about that because there's some scuttlebutt. According to the reports about AEW gonna be paying some fines, but that is okay because they gave us fun and people need to chill. Um so I want to say that having some time to sit with Double or Nothing for about 24 hours and process everything. I agree with my friend Benny's statement that this is easily one of like a top 5 pay-per-view in AEW's company history. Everything hit a lot of it, and I'm excited to see where the summer leads. AEW did what it needed to do. It wanted me to stay tuned for the summer. I still have questions though, which we'll get into some of those. And, you know, that doesn't immediately fix all the issues that I have with AEW currently at this moment. But you know what? I'm willing to give them more of a chance now after the show. So let's just get into it. We're going to quickly go over 0 Hour because this was also jam packed with some stuff as well. So I want us to begin. Of course, we have the buy-in, which was hosted by Renee Paquette, and then newly got his official graphic during the show too. Hashtag Mick Foley is hashtag All Elite. So Mick Foley is officially in the fold, and I cannot be happier.
Yeah, I'm so glad that Mrs. Foley's baby boy is here, right here in All Elite Wrestling.
I love that. I love Mick Foley. And according to what some reports were stating, because they didn't waste no time, Mick Foley has officially been added to the roster page underneath the commentary team. So it seems that we might be getting Mick Foley rotating in and out with commentary, which makes me excited.
Oh, yes, please. Anything to keep Jericho off of commentary.
Oh my gosh. And also Taz. You know what? I have actually missed Taz in some capacity. Still don't half the time though, I'm like, Taz, shut up. Oh
What's
my
that,
goodness.
Mikey? You don't like mean people being mean?
It's not even that. It's just Taz just like I'm gonna stop myself because I'm gonna be a good person today. I stopped myself because I was gonna say something
You're
really
good, man. I'm
mean.
just joking around.
Nah, it's all good. I stopped myself, but then I'm gonna say it anyway. So it's just like Taz is really great. I just wish he thought through some of the words that come out of his mouth.
Yeah, Nigel's
Like,
got that problem too.
oh my gosh, Nigel, I love you too, but I kind of give you a pass because you British. So I was like, all right then. All right, so yeah, Mick Foley is here. Excited. Let's get in quickly to these 0 Hour matches. We started off with a 5-minute tag team, eliminator match. Divine Dominion versus Zeta Steel and Viva Van. For a thrown together tag team, they worked pretty well together, Zeta and Viva. I actually like them as a team. And they're the only team that has come the closest to making it to the full 5 minutes.
Yeah, I love that right as they start, like they rung the bell, like Zeta Steel just like takes the powder and just like runs around the ring. She's just like, I'm burning the clock.
I was like, yes, be smart about it.
Mm, she's got
I
a
was
lot of
like,
charisma, man. A lot
oh,
of charisma.
100%. It was really nice to see. Yeah, Zeta has a lot of charisma. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Huh. And Viva is I love Viva so much. Especially this new
Yeah,
presentation of her. Like, yes.
yeah, I'm totally here for it. I've been a big fan for a while, and when she got tagged in at first, there was like a springboard spinning wheel heel kick, and you don't see enough of those. Good on her.
Seriously. Zeta and Viva gave it the good old college try and they got really close, but nothing would stop Divine Dominion from beating them and dashing their hopes. Lena Cross, though, gets my move of the match where it sounded really bad. She just straight up kicks. What was it? Zeta? No, it was Viva. She straight up kicked her. She's like, no, Zeta. She's like, bam. Or Zeta's just like, celebrated, and then Lena just comes out and like pump kicks her in the face. So it's like, oh, Lena, damn girl, you got long reach.
Yeah, Lena Cross is one of those people that because she's only been here for a cup of tea, but she's really really good, and I'm looking forward to people seeing how great she is.
Oh, absolutely. I am here for well, Lena and Divine Dominion in general. I'm very interested. It seems I mean, the summer is set, so we're gonna see how their path goes, but Divine Dominion win their own Eliminator Challenge, and thus Zeta and Viva do not get a chance at the tag titles. Sad face. Anyways, let's keep this going though, because we get our second 0 hour match, which was, hold up, there you are. Oop, went to no, I got it right. There we go. We got a trios match. These two factions have been kind of fighting forever at this point, but we got the Ops versus the Death Riders. So of course on the Ops you have Hook, Shabata Bread, and Anthony Bowens taking on Yuta, Garcia, and Claudio Castagnoli. Um, Shabata's great. I love Shabata Bread.
Yeah, I love everybody in this match except for Hook.
I mean, fair. Cause same.
And I'm not I'm not a big fan of the only representation we have on the on the product is the one that gets pinned.
Rude.
But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Right. I was just like, somebody needed to get pinned, but Hook was right there.
Yeah, right.
So,
But I really loved the Claudio and Shibata face off because it made like pretty much everybody in the building and online just be like, oh wow, these guys have never faced each other. Like, yes, please.
and then I need a longer match too, just one-on-one, give me 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll be set.
Mm. No shade to Hook though. Like I really a little bit, but I really do think that he's better off as a tag wrestler. He just because he can be uh he can be pretty good in small moments, and that's what tag team wrestling is made for. You know,
Mhm.
so I wouldn't mind a Bowens Hook tag team, but I don't know where they're going with this. And hopefully, this is the end of the Ops versus the Death Riders. I doubt it because everything seems to be always keeps be spinning around. Like, I wish somebody would stop and ask for directions, but whatever.
I hope so. I hope we're done. We're probably not, but it is what it is. The Death Riders pick up the victory over the Ops, which leads us into our final 0 hour slash buy-in match. This chaotic 10-man tag team match. Of course, on one side you have STP, which is Shane Taylor Promotions, being represented by Shane Taylor. You know, the captain, Sean Dean, and of course, uh, Carly Bravo, Charlie Bravo, Carly Bravo. I'm gonna say it both ways. The infantry, right? You have
Mm.
Tyga Style, Lee Moriarty, and Anthony Ogogo, who just was there. And then they were taking on the team of Boom and Doom, so Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall, and the conglomeration, which is in the form of Orange Cassidy, Roddy Strong, and Mark Briscoe. Um, this match was a freaking car crash. Like
Yeah,
it was all over the place. And then at one point, like Big Boom AJ comes up, and all of a sudden I see blood all over him. I'm like, what happened? Like, what did I miss? I was like, you come up with blood. QT Marshall is nowhere to be found towards the end. The person inside of the Vita Coco costume got knocked the flip down after a spot, and Harley Cameron had to go and console them. I saw her talking to the cost to the mascot whenever they were celebrating the ring. This was a whole entire car crash. But I was like, I was sports entertained in the words of Cresta Star. That's all
yeah.
that I was like, you know what? This match was I was sports entertained.
This one was not good. It was not good, but even on paper, you knew it wasn't going to be good.
Just too many
Like,
bodies. There were too many
just
bodies for this one.
too many bodies, and you know, like this was like the social media influencer match of the night, and uh, I'm not a big fan of QT Marshall, but I don't want to see anybody get injured. And he really messed up that the ending of this match, and I hope he's okay.
Seriously.
Um, somebody got caught Big Boom AJ flush. That's for sure. And I believe it's Carly Bravo.
Okay.
Um, and the guy inside the person inside the Vita Coco, unfortunately, they revealed it on social media. It was Aaron Solo, which works out. I like Aaron Solo.
I do too.
Um, and I like SCP a lot, and they were perfect foils for all of this. And pretty much the only time that this match was good was when uh, the conglomeration were in the ring. Like every other
Yep.
part would it just fell apart.
It fell
Um,
apart, but I was sports entertained, so I guess that's all that matters.
yeah, and uh, what is it? Uh, Anthony Ogogo. That's what I was going. Sorry, Anthony Ogogo. You said was there. I think that pretty much just like sums up his entire wrestling career. You know, but no disrespect to the man. I don't know the man, so
Right. All right, let's keep this going though. So that was 0 hour, and let's get into the main card. So we kick things off with this match, and I was like, "Ooh!" I was like, "Smart move, honestly. That was smart for you to start this, so we can get this out the way." This was a New York Street Fight I Quit match between the champions FTR and the challengers Cage and Cope and Cage. You know, friendos for lifeo. Um, this is another match where I was sports entertained, especially you, Christian, especially you. Never
yeah.
give Christian Cage a microphone,
Oh my god!
but
Right?
also give Christian Cage a microphone.
Yeah. It's funny. Like as you said, like Christian Cage pretty much took the bulk of this match. Like uh, Edge was just like did like 3 spots and was out on the floor for like 25 minutes. Like there was some really fun spots here, especially early on, like with the pliers, like nose to nuts, and um, like Christian like wrapped barbed wire around one of the ropes, and then did like a dropping toe hold to Dax into the barbed wire, and then did his
Mm-hmm.
like pull up like kind of thing where he choked somebody on the ropes.
Right.
I, I love Christian, and I can never go. You can never go wrong with a Christian match. How did you like the flaming table spot?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I was like, somebody's about to get set on fire. And then I looked at everybody. I was just like, Stoke, you're probably gonna go through this flaming table because you are the most covered and probably in flame retardant gear. But then
Yeah,
I got a little worried though, because when I saw Cash go through it too, I was like, Cash, get out of there. That's gonna lead that's not gonna be fun. Also, I gotta talk about Beth being in this match was also really fun. Watching
mm,
her just be like, bam, she ended up being the difference maker because as Cope and Christian have Dax in the ring, Dax ain't giving up until Beth gives Spike to use it in the hold. And then Dax quits, and your winners and new AEW World Tag Team Champions, Cage and Cope. And all I have to say to that, Benny, is just like, thank the wrestling gods. Now,
yeah.
hopefully, this division isn't being held hostage by this feud.
I was saying this on social media today that like I just sort of hope that we get a break from FTR. Like go home for a little while and then come back. Like because I love FTR, but like they sort of seem to be hovering around the tag titles whenever they're there. So just go do something else for a little bit. Um, last thing I was gonna say about this match was that man, Beth can really still throw some overhand punches, huh? Oh my god.
I love Beth. I really do. I was just like, I'm not asking for her to do a full run, but like, there are two people. Well, for me personally, there are three. Well, there's a couple. There's like four people. There's four people for sure. If Beth is going to do a small stint, I would love her to go up against these four people. Beth versus Stat Daddy, like Chris Statlander would be fantastic. Actually, make that five. Beth versus Sheeta to see how that goes. Beth versus Lena, but specifically also Beth versus Megan. And fuck it, Bobby Lashley versus Beth. Let's go.
Yeah, just to throw some fuel to that onto that fire.
That'd be
I'd
hilarious.
really like to see Beth versus either Alex Windsor or Jamie Hayter.
Oh my gosh, yes, I would love that. And it would never happen given the current climate it is, but in a perfect world, Beth versus Nyla Rose would be amazing too.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Love you, Nyla.
we love you, Nyla. You're doing great everywhere else. I just wish that the political climate wasn't being so nasty to you
Yeah,
because you deserve better. But
indeed.
you're entertaining me all over the place though. Anywho, we got new champs. Hopefully, this means fresher feuds, and we can actually have Cage and Cope have like a decent title reign. Doesn't need to be super long, and start putting over. I would say put over Jet Speed, but we might. You know what? Bust it in the brain. That's where my mind's at now. We'll explain why when we get to our main event, but let's keep going though. So we get into our second match of the main card, and uh, uh, if you didn't hear me before,
Ah! Uh,
banger, 10 out of 10 stars, no notes. Damn.
they always say that the second match on the card is like a death spot, right? But
Not
this
for
was
these
not.
two.
Not for these two. Um, and as we said, on Sunday that this was sort of like a 3-act play. Uh, Pretty much any of the times it was just like watch for the drop kick, you know, just like any Okada match.
I was like, Okada is
Uh,
coming from Timeless Tony Storms again because it's like tits out. It's like tits out. It's like tits out, and instead of watch for the shoe, watch for the drop kick.
yeah, pretty much. And these are two athletes that are like in their prime, and we knew going in it was going to be a 5-star match, and boy was it, man.
I was like,
Uh,
damn, it took us a while, but we finally got this. And ooh, I never had the thought never crossed my mind that I was worried of the in ring for this because I was like, this build has kind of been has been booty, but I was like, it took us forever to finally get here, but I'm glad that we did. And hot damn, even better, Tony Khan pulled the trigger because by the end of the Act 3 play, Takeshita finally does it. He beats Okada and is your new AEW International Champion. And Tony Khan, if you have this podcast bugged like I think you do, not really, but low key maybe, um, let Takeshita go on an Orange Cassidy run where he's just fighting anyone and everyone after what seems to be this feud because after the match, Takeshita is celebrating in the ring with his championship. The Don Callis family come in and essentially, they're trying to celebrate with Takeshita to be like, yeah, you got this. It's staying in the family. And Takeshita's like, nah, bruh. What are you talking about? And then they turn on him because Takeshita separates himself. And visually, we see that the family has ousted him. They're like, we're going to fight you. And then all of a sudden, we hear the familiar music of Proto Star. And I was losing. I mean, you were there. We were losing our absolute mind. I'm like, oh my God, he's back this quickly. Oh,
yeah,
I was
I
like,
guess
damn, stem cells
I
do
guess
wonders, apparently.
yeah. I was just gonna say like I guess it wasn't too bad, and I'm happy it's back. Uh, the setup was taking so long that like as you said, like it was pretty obvious what was
It's like
about
we're
to
lingering
happen.
too long.
Like
Some stuff, something's going down, and it sure did. Because Kyle Fletcher turns on Takeshita and beats him up. And then, the rest of the Don Callis family are in the ring. But I'm telling you, this feud is going to eat because
oh
towards the tail end, Okada and Fletcher go for the international champion staring at each other. And then Okada plays, the silliness. It's like, oh, haha, just kidding. And I'm like, if this leads to a triple threat at Wembley, take my money, Anthony Khan. Take my money. This summer feud is going to be hella fun.
yeah. When one thing that like I'll say about Takeshita is that like he's probably a perfect wrestler at this point, and he does a lot of like uh well nothing's new now. You know what I mean? Like everything's pretty much there's no new moves unless you're Swerve Strickland or Athena. But I digress. And but like he always does like the taker flop like and he had a perfect one on Okada in this match, and oof, man, what? Luckily, Okada didn't move out of the way, unlike the cameraman at WrestleMania, whatever, you
Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, that poor cameraman. We're also gonna talk about cameraman too, because MJF, you got some explaining to do. I
Ooh, yeah, that's a lawsuit. That is one
was
hundred
like,
percent a lawsuit.
I'm like, ow, that doesn't look fun. But yeah,
Uh,
this if it go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say that Takeshita is champ, so because like he's the NJPW TV champ, and now he's the international champ, two-time international champ.
Yes, which makes me super excited, and I'm looking forward to again. if we're building to a triple threat for Wembley, sign me up because I am here for it. And this is only the second match of the main card. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what else are we got in store?" So let's get into talking about everything else. So, in our third match of the Double or Nothing main card, too short because this is actually a really good match. And damn, Mina, I didn't know you can go like that. I was like, "Yes!" But this is a Owen Hart women's tournament quarterfinal. So I don't know why I put semifinal in the report cards for this quarterfinal, not semifinal match. It was late, you guys. I do these report card. I did it as soon as we were done. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. I was like, I'm tired. I just sat through a whole pay-per-view. But women's tournament, Owen Hart quarterfinal, Mina Shirakawa versus Athena. Um, I was pleasantly surprised that throughout this 8.5 minute match, that Mina got most of the offense for like 70% of the match. And then I was like, oh my gosh, are we about to see an upset? And then I look, oh wait, it's Athena. Never mind. But I'm telling you, I will say that my biggest critique about this match, it was too damn short, Tony. We talked about this and we talk about this all the time. The women need more time. But I will also say because Mina looked really great out here, I am making and I am getting on my platform Mina Shirakawa for TBS champion. That is my thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd really like to see her as TBS champion. This match was really fun. I went back and watched it today because internet. Uh, Athena was showing a lot of fighting spirit in this one
Mhm.
because um, Amina was just beating the crap out of her like the entire time. Like, yeah, she took like 90% of this, and then it
Mhm.
was like a Darby Allen match, like because like Athena just like gets up, hits a few moves, wins. It was like 7 minutes, like 7 to 10 minutes. Now,
At least
I'm
got
not
to 10, Tony. Damn.
I'm not saying that you need a lot of time to tell a story, right? Because uh, you can tell a great story in like 3 minutes. Uh, it's just not what they're used to. But I digress. Because the next match had no time limit.
For reals.
So what?
Well, I
Okay.
mean, since we're there, let's just jump into it. By the way,
Hell of a
Athena wins to nobody's surprise and chagrin. And so she's going to be facing Sky Blue or Sari whenever we get that match. But anyways, let's get into it. No time limit AEW Continental Championship. This match was about how can I hold this person's leg to the point of where I might be separating joints and muscles and bones because I was metaphorically clutching my pearls because I was like, I don't think the body is supposed to bend that way, boys.
uh,
Also, Kyle O'Reilly for the win, man. I love Kyle so damn much. So happy he's back.
yeah, me too, man. I'm really sorry that everything that happened to him, but I digress. Um, this match was really really fun. Like it was slow and methodical. It was the opposite of the first three matches on the main card,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Well, we're gonna break it down," and boy, did they! Uh, Mox decided that he was going to take away Kyle's leg, so that way he takes away those vicious kicks,
Mm-hmm.
and then so that way when he took away the leg, that ended up working into the story of the finish because Mox ended up winning with an ankle lock, which is how Kyle beat Mox the first four times.
Mm-hmm.
So and he made Mox adapt to him, which is which is a beautiful story.
It really is. And we saw a little bit of that at the end. Um, Kyle O'Reilly did his very best, and I know that sounds very condescending, but truly, he pushed Mox as far as he could, but it wouldn't be enough though, because Mox would make Kyle tap. And after the match, there's a little bit of respect as one moment Moxley's being a complete turd nozzle of a heel in the way he's celebrating with Death Riders. Then him and Kyle shake hands, and I was like, oh. And then he goes back to being a turd.
Yeah,
The switch and watching it in real time, him switch from heel to slightly kind of leaning babyface to back to heel was in real time was insane.
yeah. I think I said this on the watch along that like I really like this version of Mox because like he's trying to get the best out of everybody, and he's tweaking his character to uh, to what that person needs to be pushed to be better.
hmm
I hope that makes sense.
And I'm glad that finally we as fans who have been watching this Death Rider saga, like we were in so much murky territory. We're like, what are we doing with them? Where are they going? Like we're kind of just here. I was like, Moxley, what is the motivation? I need clear motivation. And thankfully, I feel like in the last year we finally gotten that motivation, and we're seeing it take fold in the form of Osprey because he is like the first quote unquote like wrestler that hasn't been part of this Death Rider saga to like seek out their help and their methodology and the training to help him change and break himself down and build himself up, which, definitely comes in handy, especially when you're going up against the killer in Samoa Joe. I'm gonna do this because I was like, yes, this match freaking ruled. This is another Owen Hart quarterfinal match, this time for the men's tournament. Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. Oh my god, this was a banger. Ugh. Watching Samoa Joe and Ospreay just go ham was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Um, this one was clearly a dream match for both of them and everybody everybody watching pretty much. Um, Joe had hit Will Osprey had hit Joe with a Styles Clash, right? At
Mhm.
one point in the match. And Excalibur, without missing a beat, goes, Joe must have PTSD from his past.
Oh my gosh. I was like, "Ooh."
Oh, Excalibur, don't change.
For reals.
Well, actually, whatever. um,
Slightly, but not really.
yeah.
Instead of change,
Uh,
grow as a person.
yes. Bingo. Um, I really like the nope cutter on this in this match. You
I
know,
was cackling so hard. I was like, "Oh, Joe, I love you."
and Joe, this was old Joe, right? Like he was busting out stuff we haven't seen in years. You know.
Right? I was like, "Joe, where has this been in the bag?" Like, you were just waiting to find somebody just pull who could take all these things.
Mm. Like he did like the power bomb transition into the modified Boston Crab and into the STF. Oh man, I love Joe so much.
This match definitely lived up to what I wanted it to be. And it was
Mm,
really fun to see that with Joe, Will still had some high flying, but he was more grounded thanks to the Death Riders training. But he really needed to make sure that he kept Joe down because Joe was not going down without a fight. And there was again another slight show of respect. Joe, like, even though it was kind of tee hee ha haing it a little bit. He bowed to Osprey on his way out and then went back to being angry and mad that he lost. So Osprey won this match. He is going to be facing either Jungle Jack Perry or Mark Davis. I'm hoping it's Mark Davis so Osprey can get us some revenge. like to what Mark Davis did to him like a month and a half ago. And so we'll see how this goes. But man, talk about this was a dream match for both of them. And this was also another dream match because these two also flipping killed it. I was like, ooh, let me tell you, where the other match was watching Joe try to muscle his way through and Osprey be more grounded, these two were like, bet we're not in that storyline. Let's just kick and fly and just do all the stuff that we can. God darn it, Bandito and Swerve. Like, this is such yes.
Yeah, I know that Swerve and Hangman are like tied at the hip because of their feud, but Swerve might have found his like wrestling soulmate in this
Mm-hmm.
match.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, do
Because
it
they,
again.
yes, 1,000 times over, you know? Because they were doing like cheerleader spots where like Swerve was like on Bandito's shoulders and he hit like a house call like on his
Oh my
shoulders,
gosh. I was like, whoa.
like only Bandito could do that, you know? Like, and because like what a special talent that guy is.
Um,
The what was it like the 21 plex from like the deadlift? What is getting more insane every single time I see it. I sort of like it better as a setup because the leaning into the ropes is sort of like an awkward transition. Like
mhm.
it never looks good. you know, uh, the bridge and everything, like the 21 plex looks good, but like I've never seen a 21. Like, why does he do a drop toe hold? It doesn't make any sense, you know. Like,
Fair.
but I digress.
the these two really brought some ingenuity to this match. Like you said, the spot you mentioned earlier, Swerve getting on top of Bandito's shoulders a la cheerleader pyramid and doing a modified S house call on it. And I'm just like, this is just I'm mad because I was like, oh my gosh, this is a great match. Then I looked, I was like, damn it, it's only a quarterfinal match. Listen, I love Claudio. I hope it's Brody who moves on.
Mm,
Honestly, I take that back. Swerve versus either one of those two means we gonna get free television greatness. Uh,
definitely.
so Swerve wins. He beats Bandito. Swerve awaits Claudio Castagnoli or Brody King after their match, and the winner will face Swerve in the semifinals. The back-to-back Owen Hart matches with these two, I was like, this was a smart booking choice. And I want to take a quick pause real quick because I want to talk about it. So, 0 hour, I was sports entertained. So, I'm mostly talking about the main card from what opened up the show to this point of the show. I don't know if Tony Khan had somebody talk to him, but the order of the matches, to me personally, matters because you want it to be a
Mm,
constant crescendo, not like goes strictly up and down because everybody's gonna be tired and the flow is just gonna feel awkward. Up to this point, the flow was so good and everything was well paced out, and what happened and any post match shenanigans, like I was like, normally I'm tired because excuse my French and the saying, but half the time I feel like AEW pay-per-views by the midpoint, we kind of blow our load a little too early. And I was just like, you gave us all this craziness. And now I'm tired and we still got like another half of this card. I was
yeah.
not tired at any point during this show.
Yeah, it was like what was it, Supercard couple weeks ago. Like after the Outrunners, the Castle Runners, as they like to call them, won the trios, the six mans. Like I was like, I'm done. Like I don't
Like we
like
could just end it right there and call it a day.
yeah, right.
The
And
matches afterwards were great, but I was like, damn, we still got like another hour to go. Duh.
yeah, exactly. Uh, I completely agree. Like it felt like it just flew right by.
And I was like, Tony Khan, whether it is you or somebody else helping you with this, and all the other promotions out there that we cover. Say this all the time. Match order matters whether you think it does or not, in my personal opinion, because
Yeah,
the flow of a card is going to help your crowd stay engaged and stay invested.
I
So,
completely agree. And
mhm.
uh, the only thing I'll say about that is that like I know it's like tradition that like the world title goes on last, right? It doesn't always need to. Like
Just
it's
yeah.
whatever the biggest match is should be the main event. You know?
I still hold to this day, even though we're about a year away from it, I still hold that the Hollywood Ending match should have main evented Revolution last year.
Oh yeah, I completely agree.
That
It was
was
a
the
fumble.
biggest and hottest story during AEW that time, and y'all gave those women 10 minutes, and they knocked it out of the park by shortening the match, and then the main event was a wet fart of Cope and Moxley.
Yep. But you know, guys get a headline. You know. But we digress.
We digress. Swerve wins. This match ruled. We move on to
Mm.
our next match.
Speaking of women,
Honestly, speaking of women, honestly though, Tony, I'm really glad that you put this match before Stadium Stampede. And I don't want to say that the other two matches didn't steal it, but the other two matches, Osprey and Joe and Swerve and Bandito, they were really fun, really exciting, but it didn't suck my energy out. And the crowd was still behind this. And let me say something. As much as I hated the build getting here because I was just like, oh, okay, we're just throwing these four. On paper, it should be fun, but damn, I wish we got some more cool story. I feel that these four heard us say that and they're like, okay, hold my beer. And we're just like, bell rings, go. Damn.
very much so. Um, like I get it. Like there was no story going in, right? Like the story going in was between two people who didn't have the belt, but
hmm
and they're running back Thekla versus Hater for another time.
Yep.
Um, and but I'm not all down on this. Like I actually thought that this was one of the better matches of the night.
100%. And I was worried because I'm like, I love these four women. I don't know how they're gonna work together. And they shut me up real quick.
Yeah, and one of my biggest issues is that like I'm not a big fan of four ways. Um, it's just that like it's always like two in, two out, two in, two out, you know. And somehow they worked around that. Like AEW's been really working on this formula where like it's still the action is still going. All four people are wrestling, you know. And man, Hater versus Chris, we need that match on a pay per view.
The little bit that we got in this match made me excited. And to your point too, like it was really fun. The match started and immediately Jamie, Chris, and Sheeta immediately began stomping out Tekla. They're like, "Oh hell nah!" And they stomped her out like Tekla owed them lunch money. They're like, "We know what this is. We're gonna stomp you out because you're gonna be an issue." And then yeah, we got some really fun matches between all four of them. The closing sequence was also a lot of fun too. Chris had it ready, had the win, but Sheeta hit her with the kendo stick. Jamie Hayter takes her out. Tekla pins Stat, and again, it sets up Jamie and Tekla first a little bit later. And we're getting Sheeta and Stat Daddy in a Philadelphia lights out street fight tomorrow night on the 3 hour dynamite. So I'm like, this is gonna be fun. So I have to say these four women definitely shut me up because I was already being a complainer at the beginning. And then by the end of this match, I was like, damn, this is really good, you guys. I appreciate y'all and I apologize.
Yeah, they definitely made chicken salad out of chicken shit with this match.
100%. They made me eat crow, and that is, I am man enough to admit when I am wrong, and I like being proven wrong. I want my wrestlers to be awesome. And this match was a lot of fun too. So at this point, we had some great wrestling matches. I was like, I was wrestling entertained, but Benny, this is the epitome of being sports entertained. And girl, I was sports entertained. This was so much fun. I could not stop smiling and laughing. And I was just like, by the end of this match, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, I love wrestling.
Yeah.
This had
Yeah.
everything. Like, honestly, we had broken glass. We had tables. They gave me my tennis ball machine, which didn't work too well, but it was still fun. We had a cameo from Luther with the giant racket. Tommy Invincible showed up. Mark Davis, there was a whole food fight. Satnam Singh was mad at somebody. We had a bus crash. We had a shopping cart. Like, this had everything. We got Metallica music for the pre-tape intros. We got Metallica. It's like, what the flip? Also, watching Kenny cough up after smoking the cigar was funny in that pre-tape. And they're like, bro,
Yeah.
don't do that.
I heard somebody say the other day, like, it was anybody else, it wouldn't have worked, but it's Kenny, so like, with his comedic timing, it works, you know. But like, if there would ever was a Stefan type match in AEW, it was this. It's like we got buses, we got giant tennis rackets, we got we got Leo and Bobby.
Oh my god.
And Janai Kai just sitting in the background watching a food fight. You know? And it actually sort of made me tear up a little bit at the end when Jericho took out the table and put himself through it as an homage to Sabu.
Yeah.
That was incredibly nice little touch. And even Taz was like, oh my God, I didn't know he was going to do that.
Be like,
Um,
who's cutting onions over here?
yeah, right? It's Jack Perry with a bag of them. One of my favorite moments, though, was Toa Leona forgetting whose side he's on and just being a monster and almost killing Clark Connors.
This match was
Oh man!
nuts. And of course, I even forgot we even got a Shillelagh spot. Like,
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
there was so much happening. Now,
Oh.
according to some reports, though, the boys might get in trouble because the New York Athletics Commission were like a big no-no. Be like, you're not supposed to fight through the crowd. I'm like, Tony Khan got
Yeah,
money. He's fine.
I don't think they did though, did they?
I'm gonna be for real. I don't think they did. That's why everything felt probably like so cluttered and chaotic AF. Also, I have to mention because I was crying of laughter. Luchasaurus in a wig. Like, when Andrade went to go take pictures with those two girls, and then he took the camera and did the thing with Andrade. Andrade sold it beautifully. I was laughing. I was sports entertained this match. The hot dang. This was so much fun.
You know, I'm gonna be a party pooper here. I don't like that spot at all. Um, but we can move on. There's some, AEW has really gotten like really serious the past couple months, almost to a year, and AEW is great at haha, and we need more haha in wrestling. You know, great stuff all around. Not it's totally different, but you remember the Mark Briscoe Ciampa match from last
Bro,
week?
the crowd was so behind when Ciampa, during that weird little commercial break, was attacking the chicken. I was like, yes!
he hit his finishing move on the chicken. So
I'm gonna be honest, it didn't need to, but instead of Luchasaurus in a wig, imagine if Dalton Castle just popped up randomly and took the selfie, and Andrade realized it afterwards when he saw the picture. He's like, "What the hell?"
yeah, right.
Or the Outrunners. That'd be hilarious. I like a little lowbrow humor like that. Luchasaurus in a wig. I was like, okay, I'm not mad. But again,
Uh,
I got my tennis ball machine, even though it didn't work very well. The Luther cameo though was like, oh my god, yes, and he came with a giant racket.
I haven't really worked out why I don't like it. It just seems a little bit, um, little homophobic. But
That
um,
is very fair, and I can see that. I
because
can see that.
the young bucks and the elite are not above being homophobic. So
Mm, that
what
is
just
very
watch
true.
BTE. So, but I digress.
Oops. I was sports entertained. Jericho, the Elite, and the Hurt Syndicate win. We are hopefully getting the rubber match tomorrow because we are getting Jericho and Ricochet one more time. Everybody banned from ringside. God, please let tomorrow be the final match in this feud.
Oh God, yeah. And like uh, the Hurt Syndicate and the Demand, it's like we still here.
I'm like, well, all right, let's hopefully get through this. Let's start
But
fresh going into the summer pay-per-view road.
yeah, I'm not just complaining, like because I love all four of those people, all six of them, five of them, whatever it is. And I like the was it the Barrel of Monkey spot, like
Woo!
with MVP.
Yes. This match was
Uh,
fun. It
yeah, it was
really
great.
was.
It was great.
So again, Jericho, the Hurt Syndicate, and the Elite win. All right, we got one more match to talk about, Benny. Main event time: AEW World Championship title versus hair. Darby Allin defending his title against MJF. This was probably the most self. This was probably the most, and I mean this in the best way possible. This was the most like Dynamite esque coded match on the pay per view card. I was like, this felt like I was watching the main event of a Dynamite, but it's not bad. Also,
Mm.
the intro for Darby was really, really fun. Of him like coming out of the sewer grate onto the stage was fun. Also, got to shout out Tekla and the way that the camera people like had her like be like a spider in that scaffolding in her entrance too. I love it when the wrestlers are allowed to play with the set like that. It is fun.
Mm.
But that was cool. And of course, MJF being MJF, saying that he don't give a f about any of the five boroughs. I was like,
Yeah,
oh damn, what a way to be a
I,
heel.
I love that because it's New York, so like he knew he was gonna get cheered, so he found a way to turn him. you
He
know?
started okay, going back to the beginning of the night, he heard him getting cheered, and he's like, hold up. And he told Tony Khan, hold my beer. Let me go out there real quick. And he made them boo when he was in the ring with Mick Foley. So him and Mick Foley really helped the crowd be like, oh no, MJF is the turd. I don't care if we're in New York. He's still your heel. So
Yeah,
boo this man.
boo this man.
Boo this man. Also, Darby, I always ask this, but are you okay? Because
Yeah,
that when he jumped from the top of the scaffolding to the set onto the table, I'm like, and the back of his head began to bleed. I was like, oh, 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 Darbs, are you okay?
yeah. Like uh, to me, it looked like the frame of the table, like sort of like you know like collapsed and then like came up and like that's what he like scraped the back of his head on because like uh you can see it sort of underneath the skirt of the table.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was I like the little bang bang as well,
That was awesome. I was like, yes.
And to be honest with you, you could all throughout this night you could just there was so many nods to Mick Foley, so
I'm
you
stoked
could
he's
tell that
here.
everybody was just really happy he's there.
They're stoked. They can't hide their containment. And I love it when a company allows their wrestlers to be like, they fan out, even though
Mm,
this is the business they're in. I believe wrestlers are cooler and more relatable to me when they are able to are shown to fan out and like they're not supposed to be this uber serious character all the time. I know we're not talking about WWE, but that's why I freaking love Jacob Fatu because he is a fan of this business and wrestling. And watching him mark out leading like wrestling legends in general is probably some of the highlights of my day. But man, I'm excited for AEW to have Mick Foley. This match again, I felt like I was watching a Dynamite main event, but like I mean that in the best way possible. This was an AEW Dynamite match with a pay-per-view budget and time, honey. Uh, to nobody's surprise, MJF does pick up the win over Darbs. And I was like, cool, 3-time champion. Gotta love that. We knew this was where we're going. Darby gave us a really fun short run, and I love this. But that's not the real thing I wanna talk about, though. Even though we also saw this being telegraphed leading into this, they pulled this trigger. Kevin Knight comes out for the save as Darby's getting on this stretcher, and MJF is being a tool, and Kevin Knight hits a UFO splash on a gurney Darby, and that heel turn is here, and look at Tony Khan setting up really great feuds for 2 young of their stars. Take notes of the promotions. That's how we do it. If we want to see these young stars be built, so here we go. Not sure how this heel run's going to go for Kevin Knight, but I am here for it. Somebody who is not, though, Speedball Mike Bailey, because all he could do to reply was saying, fuck. It's like, Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
Yeah. All
I'm
I
here
could think of at the end was, what would Kushida think? What would Kushida think?
Y'all are the time splitters.
Uh,
Anywho. Well, the funny thing is, Kushida is also now okay. I will say this: Kushida is still a baby face in New Japan, but in
hmm.
MLW, he is officially a heel. He has joined with Contra Unit, so him and Ikuru Kwan have kind of teamed up a little bit, and I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I have seen him as a heel before too, so like,
But
it
no, but
works.
what would
You know,
Kushida think?
like uh, one thing like that I noticed, like this is just a random little thing that I noticed, like halfway through the show, is that like the ring skirt had Burberry on it.
I was laughing so hard because, like, I was like, when I saw that, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. I'm like, nope, there it is.
No, they're telling you all along, man. Like, and um, MJF came out with a Hana Kimura tribute jacket, which
Oh my
was
gosh, I'm
beautiful.
crying. Rest in power, Hana Kimura. Love her. 6 years gone too soon. She shouldn't have been gone at all, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, it's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. And this is why, really quickly, this is why I get after the IWC because y'all need to treat these wrestlers better because you don't know what they're going through. And look what happened with Hana Kimura. I'm being so for
Absolutely,
real.
you don't know these people. You
Like,
you
don't be
see them
rude.
on TV. You know
Be
that's it.
nice to them. They're people at the end of
Yeah,
the day, and they deserve to be treated as such. And we don't know what they're going through. So be nice, internet. That is my TED
yeah,
talk for tonight. But yeah, heel Kevin Knight's gonna be fun. Kyle Fletcher's back as a heel. 2 young AEW stars being positioned to be in some really good stuff. Now, I'm really excited because I think Tony Khan is setting up something fun where we're working in threes because that international championship is probably going to be we're probably going to get a triple threat at some point, and then it seems we might be teasing some sort of triple threat with Speedball, Knight, and Darby at some point for that TNT championship too. I'm like, there you go. That's the summer mid card feud. Let's go.
yeah. You know, just just a few thoughts about the Darby run.
Hmm.
Darby is a fantastic TV wrestler, and that's exactly what he did during this run. And I would not be surprised if this is not his only run.
No, I think this was truly, and you can add in here at editing time, Benny too. I truly think this was like not only giving Darby his props, but I do think Tony Khan treated this run as an experiment to see how we as the fandom would react because I cannot speak for the whole entire entity that is the IWC, but a good chunk of us, and we've brought it up a couple of times here in the 3 years that we've been doing this AEW post show. Darby is one of those people who is genuinely loved by a lot of the AEW fandom, and I was ecstatic when he won this championship. Like we all were. And I think Tony Khan wanted to use this short-term run to see if Darby not only could be a fun TV champion, but to see if a short-term run in general could work for the right person. And honestly, I think Tony Khan succeeded on both fronts. Darby as champion was so much fun, and the fandom was always behind him. And then Darby, like you said, fantastic television champion. And honestly, if you want to turn a couple other maybe wrestlers in that same category as Darby who not necessarily are going to be like a Hangman or a Swerve in any capacity, which is no shade because I love Darby like that. But even Darby has said he's just like, I don't have the same path or the same ideals as like a Swerve or a Hangman or Kenny Omega. Like I'm here until the wheels fall off. So I think if AEW found the right people to do short-term reigns with like this, where they're constantly defending this thing on TV on a good consistent basis, and I honestly think, even though it took us a while, I think that's where we were going with Willow because we kept teasing her wanting to put this title on the line every week, and I honestly think that Willow was going to be that for the TBS women's division. But unfortunately, due to injury, that's kind of thrown in a wrench in it. That's why I hope Mina picks it up and put Mina on television. Shit, she holds it. She showed up and showed out against Athena. Honestly, I was like, that was her audition tape. Let's get this TBS championship on her so she can do that. So it's
I,
really fun to watch this happening.
I completely agree. I completely agree. And there's a lot of people in the back of AEW that could have a good TV title run. Like not like not like a TV title, but like a run on TV. Specifically, somebody named Roderick Strong.
Yes, like
Because
Roddy being a TNT champion and just going out every week and putting on a clinic against folks would be every week, especially on Collision, would be
yeah,
great. And I'm not saying he has to be the one, but I would love to see a Roddy and Tyga style match, whether it's
mm,
preferably on AEW. But if it's in ROH and we put that tier championship on the line too, oh man, in my personal opinion, outside of Zack Sabre Jr., I think Tyga Style fighting Roderick would be a really fun big test for him because because listen, Lee Moriarty has gone up against some really fantastic foes. He's gone up against Nigel twice, and I love Nigel to death. But I
yeah.
think a Roddy would be the ultimate test for him to see whether or not he truly is the king of the pure rules.
Oh, definitely. Especially going up against somebody like Mr. ROH, Roderick Strong.
If Tyga Style and Roddy could have that match and Roddy puts over Tyga Style, I was like, pull this kid up to AEW now. That is the ultimate send off to me. Like, have him beat Roddy and vacate. I know people get mad when vacate titles, but honestly, I feel like Lee has proven himself. And if you don't want him to lose that title, have him vacate that and be pulled up to AEW where he and put him on Collision and have him have bangers and send him to Mexico and just in general. Like, I just want 2026 to be a Lee Moriarty takeover.
Another person that I'd really like to see uh, potentially have a short term run is Orange Cassidy. Um,
Yes.
because I think he's earned it over the course of 7 years. And we were getting there, but then the injury happened with his pec. So like I'd love to see them come back around on that. You
I
know?
feel like he's earned it and he's proved it and he showed us that he can, whether it's a long term or a short term. Because that I still hold that international championship run as one of my favorite championship runs in any AEW title in this company's history.
Yeah. And if there's any feud that deserves a top title, it's Pac versus Orange Cassidy. You
Oh
know,
my gosh, those two can never have a bad match, in my personal opinion. So, but MJF is our three-time AEW World Champion. Kevin Knight has healed it up and turned on Darbs. Tomorrow night's going to be very fun, very interesting. Looking forward to a 3-hour Dynamite, but that has been Double or Nothing. Really quickly, I just want to go over our prediction scores. And I don't have the visual, but I will tell everyone. And then I want to talk about the grade I gave for the report card and my final thoughts and get Benny's final thoughts. So predictions time. By the end of the night, uh, because we made our predictions on Tuesday before we found out about, Mina and Athena being switched out for Willow and Alex Windsor, as well as the Kyle and O'Reilly and John Moxley Continental Championship match. And we also didn't know our buy-in matches until like a couple days before. But but after the dust settled, Benny and I both went clean sweep. We got every single prediction correct. The professor came in second place with a score of 7-2, I believe. And then Andrew came in third with 6-3. So we went 9-0, Benny. So we're already starting off season 2 of Predictions Leagues hot. It's really going to come down to the wire. And shout out to Professor, who hasn't been here for a hot minute and still managed to get a pretty decent score.
yeah, definitely. Shout out to Professor.
The
Hopefully he's
Professor,
doing well.
hopefully he'll be coming back starting this summer. And then shout out to Andrew too, who is looking to join us part-time for AEW sometime in the summer as well. So,
Nice.
but yeah, so that was predictions. Now, as far as report card, if you go to our social medias and check out the report card that I did for Double or Nothing, after talking to Benny and actually because I was torn and I wanted his opinion because I value his opinion, I agreed with Benny at the end of the day, and I gave Double or Nothing an A minus for the pay per view for the report card. This was a near perfect pay per view. Honestly, none of the matches really was just like there was not a single match on here where I was like, ew, this is like I'm not having fun because I was worried because Dynasty was okay. Like Revolution was fun. Dynasty was okay, and I was a little worried for Double or Nothing. I was just like, man, the build has been kind of okay for a lot of these matches. Let's see how it turns out. Again, I feel like this podcast is bugged because everybody showed up and showed out. What kept this show from being an A instead of an A minus is the fact that Mina and Athena's match was hella short, and just the women's matches in general were nowhere near as long as their male counterparts. That is my only big issue. Had we gotten that, I would have pushed this to an A easily. But that is what's holding me back, and I still got to ding it because I want better for the women's division. Damn it!
1000%. 1000%.
But those are my reasons why I gave this an A minus. Benny, what is your closing thoughts as to why you also gave this an A minus as well?
Yeah, I thought it was a near perfect pay per view, and my only hiccup uh, was as well like um, there was technically only two women's matches on this card,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them had no story leading into it except for a non-title feud, and the other one was the story was a crutch because it was the Owen. There was no like yeah they had a video package, but like what are we doing, man? Like do better. It's just do better, man.
100%. Anyways, but other than that, Double or Nothing really got me excited, and I was just like, all right. I mean, it's not like I was going anywhere, anyways, but I was pretty excited for the summer pay per view road leading into Wembley. Now I'm really excited. I'm like, AEW, you had the potential this summer to crank it up and crank it out. Don't disappoint me. which
Yeah.
I don't think they will. I have issues, and sometimes I throw things at my screen with AEW, but at least within the last 2 years, I was just like, I have my issues sometimes, but I am really happy to see that, hey, we might be making some changes, hopefully. So we'll see how the summer goes because also really quick news because this is relevant to this. We have our official summer pay-per-view road officially. So of course, we have excuse me. We have Forbidden Door coming up on June 28th. So that is what we're building to next. Then announced this morning in July, we have our second summer pay-per-view, AEW Redemption. And if I read it correctly, it's coming from Quebec. I think. Yes, it's coming from Quebec. And so
Mhm.
that's going to be in Canada. So AEW Redemption. I saw the art. I saw like the poster for it. I was like, interesting. We're going with the floor de triomphe. The floor that you usually see in like designs and stuff. So that's in July, which I believe is also at the end of the month. And then, of course, all in Wembley in August. We got a fun summer road, and so this should be interesting. But yeah, that is going to be it for us here at the Elite Insight. Me and Benny got to get up on out of here, but the remainder of the week is kind of mostly back to our regular scheduled programming, business as usual. So tomorrow night, doubleheader NXT and CMLL. Then on Friday is TNA, and then Sunday I will be here in the morning, not for my East Coast folks because they're in the afternoon already, but we'll be doing a live watch along for Clash in Italy as well. So and then summer will start proper because all these pay-per-views and shows, and I'm just excited because it's been a minute, but we're getting closer. Also, like June stacked up. We got our next Eve show coming up, which makes me excited. We have Mystery Wrestling, like they took the month of May off, but it is back. We got two New Japan shows to talk about in June. Best of the Super Juniors and Dominion is happening too. So
Mm.
summer is starting off right, and I'm super excited. But from all of us here at BC WrestlePod to you at home, remember to take care of yourself, love one another, stay biconic, and please take care of yourselves and take care of each other. It is hard out here in these times. Please show each other some love because I love you and we want you to stay safe and healthy. But until next time, that is going to be it. So until the next one, sayonara, adios, and as always, peace.